The year is 2022, and already Wizards of the Coast has revealed 12 upcoming secret lairs. The first of which is Capricorn. You may know about this big sea goat in the sky, but I'm here to tell you that it isn't just a sea goat in the sky. It's part of the Western astrological system, which is why this is the Astrology lands. The Astrology lands are being sold through the Wizards of the Coast Secret Lair website, which is secretlair.wizards.com, in two different ways. Number one, in a little box. There's 5 swamps, they're full art swamps in that box, and they're being sold for $29.99 for non-foil and $39.99 for foil. If you're looking to pick up a whole bunch of these, you can get 5 bundles of 5, which would be 25 basic swamps, for $119.99 for non-foil and $159.99 for foil. So if you're looking to pick those up, that's where you do it, and that's how much they cost. I was actually lucky enough to get to deep dive on these lands because I got to talk with the artist herself, Jeanne D'Angelo. So first I want to say a little bit more about what the signs are. So Capricorn is the symbol which associates approximately with December 22nd through January 10th. This is a sun sign, for the dates that I'm discussing at the very least, which means that it's when the sun passes through them during that time of year. There are different constellations which the sun passes through, depending on what time of the year it is, and that determines what the sun sign is. If I'm wrong about this, by the way, feel free to correct me. I just went onto the Wikipedia and did my best to try to understand the basics of Western astrological systems, which is a form of horoscopic divination that's based on the position of the sun and the date of your birth. Constellations, by the way, are, if you just happen to not know this because you don't go outside, they are big images in the sky formed by arrangements of stars. So there's always this arrangement of stars in the sky somewhere. You can't always see it at all times of the year. And if you use your imagination, you can turn it into a story or a picture or a person. And in this case, it's the sea goat. This is my Capricorn. Look at that right there. I am not a Capricorn, by the way. I don't know all of my signs. I think I'm a Pisces. Yeah, let's go with I'm a Pisces. And these secret lairs were not sold the normal way. These secret lairs are coming out during each of their times of the year for the astrological sign, and they're being sold in a limited quantity rather than a time limiting, which means that they're not being printed to order. It sounds like if these are super popular, Wizards of the Coast is going to do multiple print runs, so you'll have a bit longer to get them. But if they're not as popular, they'll probably do one run, sell out, and just move on to the next one. So if you want to celebrate your sign, you can wait until the time of the year when the sign you're waiting for appears. I'm sure you know when your sign is better than I know, so keep an eye out for that in your calendar. Make a little reminder, maybe. So, because I did have an opportunity to talk to Jeanne, I asked her a whole bunch of questions about herself and her art. So first of all, who is Jeanne D'Angelo? She hasn't worked on Magic cards before, has she? No, she hasn't. She has not worked on game art previously, but she's worked on other cool, nerdy stuff. I'm talking about illustrations for fantasy, for horror. She's worked on comic books. And if you want to find out a whole bunch more about her works and see them yourself, you can go to jeannemdangelo.com, and you can actually look at the zine, which is called Endless Skies, which is what Wizards of the Coast first saw to get their attention. So if you know her, you can find her. Jessica Lanzillo is a director at Wizards of the Coast who reached out to Jeanne after seeing Endless Skies. And it really makes sense because Endless Sky is a big collection of star, lightning-related stuff that all really looks like magic art. I could definitely imagine some of these being lightning bolts or blood moons. So if you want to check that out, that's also on the website. So when did Wizards of the Coast reach out to Jeanne? This was at the end of 2020, and it took about 3 months to go from conceptualizing to completing the art, and of course it takes a little bit longer from then to turn the cards into the physical product, which is being released now online. And I also think it's worth mentioning that Jeanne is based out of Philadelphia, a fellow East Coaster, and she has a big interest in mythology, folklore, and history of magical practice. She's also into visiting cemeteries and cemetery history. I am as well. As a fellow New Englander, I find that we have a lot of great history that can be found in our cemeteries. As somebody coming from outside of the Magic the Gathering inner circle, Jeanne was able to bring her own style and beautiful pieces into this new secret lair. So far, I've only seen one, but I do like what I see. If you haven't seen the art yet, I've got it up on the screen, and it is of a sea goat skeleton underneath a mangrove-inspired tree in a swamp surrounded by rubies in front of a bright pink sky with stars interspersed in it. They are not a constellation, they are just good-looking stars with more trees framing the background. A lot of very bright colors, not normally associated with swamps. We do oftentimes see purples with swamps and blues and blacks, but not as often these pinks and greens. And that's really important because we have the red of the ruby, that is the gemstone associated with Capricorn. You have the sea goat, again, right behind me, and the mangrove, which is a part of swamp life. It may also be hard to tell, but all of these paintings are traditional, meaning that they are made with physical media rather than digital media. Jeanne primarily works in physical media, well, so it would make sense that this card would also be made in traditional media. So with the first secret lair revealed, I did want to ask her more about the design because I don't know that much about astrology, as I mentioned before. I know about the sea goat, and I know rubies are associated with Capricorns, but why is it a sea goat skeleton? What else is associated in this design with astrology and with your personal input into the design? So what did Wizards of the Coast ask for when they were working on this design? It sounds like Jeanne was asked to create something with a psychedelic color scheme, referring to some of the previous works like the ones in Endless Skies. But they were hoping to get traditional astrological imagery, not necessarily literal translations from, let's say, a star chart, but references to astrological knowledge and all of the mythos around it. This is great because it gave Jeanne an opportunity to collaborate with an astrologer who's also a magic fan. This person is Maya Brooks. You can find her at Night Shift Astrology on Instagram. Maya had actually also helped with figuring out which alignment, I believe that means like which land each of these astrological signs should be. So far, we've only seen one, and that is Capricorn being represented as a swamp. Jeanne and Maya wanted to tie in the rulership of Saturn over Capricorn into the card. If you don't know, Capricorn and the other various zodiac signs have a ruler. They also have an element. In this case, Capricorn is an earth sign. This ties back into a concept called dispater. It's a Roman concept. It means rich father, and it's usually applied to Pluto and Hades. But Jeanne decided that it would be well interpreted into Capricorn and Saturn's relationship because it's an earth sign. There's a bit of a tie into kind of the emotion of the death that's represented in the swamp here. Typically, swamps and death get associated more with decay, with rot. And in like Magic the Gathering art especially, you'll see zombies, skeletons, gravestones, rather than see an association with the more cyclical parts of death. Things like the nutrient richness of the swamp, the rebirth, the change, and the harvest, which are all a part of life and death. And this all ties into the rulership of Saturn and the placement of Capricorn at the beginning of the year. This is the coldest time of the year in the northern hemispheres. Also, because swamps are this place teeming with life that's oftentimes drawn from death, you see that there's this skeleton represented of the sea goat. There's the skeleton of the sea goat here, which is feeding the mangrove tree. It's this beautiful piece where you have this chimera being drawn from to create new life growing into the rest of the environment. I think that this is a really great way that Jeanne has represented the parts of the sea goat in the astrological secret lair. Jeanne also mentioned to me that she gets inspiration for her color schemes from unusual places. It happens to be that because she had to come up with 12 different pieces all at once for the different astrological signs, she brought these big, bright, unusual creations. But the jumping off point for this one, for Capricorn, was the Misfits Earth AD cover art made by Mad Mark Rude. I've got that up on the screen here so you can see it. She was really aiming for a blasted out, vivid cover scheme for the whole project, and she didn't use black paint at all, except in very limited ways for small bits of line work. I think that that's actually a fascinating piece of trivia about these secret layers. She actually used royal blue rather than black to kind of keep with this theme of color rather than just darkness and absence of color. It's interesting, though, for us to then have a swamp with no black on it. And that makes for a very interesting challenge for Jeanne as an artist. I also had decided to ask Jeanne if she'd be working on any other secret layers in the future, and currently the answer is no. But we shouldn't count her out. Even if she was able to work on any of them, she wouldn't be able to tell us yet. So I'm hoping that sometime in the future, Jeanne will be invited back on to work on some more Magic cards, maybe not secret layers, maybe something that's in the mainline sets, and we'll get to see those and hold them in our beautiful paper cards. So thank you again to Jeanne D'Angelo for answering some of my questions about the secret layer, and for anybody interested in a secret layer, again, you can find that at secretlayer.wizards.com. Thank you for watching!